I'm Shalon from Soulfilled Beauty. I just wanted to pop on here today because I was thinking a lot about who we are as an individual. When I was doing my full moon women's circle, we discussed the whole concept of who you are at the core, who you are as a soul, right? We've been led to take on these identities from our past experiences, from our parents, from society, from our friends, and carry them with us throughout our life. And that becomes like our identity, right? But is that really who you are at your core? Is that who you really want to be? Is that who you want to show up as? Like, the whole concept of like, maybe you identify as like your occupation, right? For instance, I am a hairstylist, right? I've been a hairstylist for 22 years, right? But I am also all of these other aspects, right? And I don't necessarily need to identify as those. But I can embrace and embody all of those, as opposed to like putting myself into that one box of how a hairstylist is meant to show up, right? Even as hairstylists, we are basically, I like to call us therapists, right? And that's why I got into this healing work and everything else. Neighbors coming outside. And so that I could help like support my clients in a better way. And so I don't necessarily even need to identify that as that, right? Because I could take on the identity of like, I'm a solo mom, right? And focusing on that all the time, as opposed to, who am I? I'm a kind, caring, compassionate soul who is full of love and generosity and really getting to the core of who you want to embody, not necessarily what label you put on yourself, if that makes sense. I hope I'm being clear. Please let me know if you have any further questions in what I'm trying to explain to you. But yeah, just because I've been really sitting with the whole like feeling like even as being a spiritual person, like who is that? How do people in the spiritual community show up? And I think that at one point I just put myself from one box into another one of how, those spiritual, being a spiritual teacher or whatever, how that is meant to show up. And for me, that means being authentic to myself, being authentic to who I am, and not taking on the role of what other people portray as being this spiritual person, right? Because I too have like things that I need to work through all the time. I by no means am perfect, right? But that is also why I'm able to show up for you and share my experiences, and be okay with that, right? So, and I don't even like to identify as being like a spiritual person, needless to say. Like, I'm just like, this whole spiritual journey has led to being like one with myself, basically, right? One with discovering that we actually are all one and we are all interconnected, right? In this wonderful thread of life. And when you awaken and open up to that, you will actually see how interconnected we actually are, right? And you'll start to awaken to like synchronicities, right? You'll no longer see that it's a coincidence. Like, there is no coincidence, there's just synchronicity. And when you're in alignment, you will discover more and more synchronicities and be awakened and aware to more things. So anyway, my whole point with that was like really getting down to the root and the core of who you are and what your values are, because like we take on all these things from the past, like even with myself, like with growing up and everything, you know, I was the one that was like relied on quite a bit. And so even as an adult, I felt like I need to be helping and giving and helping and giving and everybody else around me, as opposed to giving to myself, right? And in reality, I needed to give to myself first. Like we talk about, like filling your cup first, right? We don't give from a depleted cup. We give from an overflowing cup. What is in the cup is for us, and what is overflowing is for everybody else, right? And so I could continue to live that identity. If I really wanted to, I could live that identity of being a people pleaser, of running around and making everybody else happy because I'm the oldest. Like, you know, we talk about like the pecking order, right? Of when you're growing up, like, oh, well, you're, you know, I'm the oldest, right? So therefore I'm the responsible one. I'm the one who has to take care of everybody else. And I'm the one who is like the go-to and whatever else. And it's like, in reality, no, I do not need to live that role anymore, because all it was doing was pushing me into burnout, pushing me into, you know, not being able to take care of stuff in my own home and in my own family, right? And so when I decided that I wasn't going to do that anymore, right, and I was going to show up for myself and for my family and do what's best for us, right, is when I could release that identity, right? And let it go. And like even I think about like people with nicknames, right? And they carry those with them their whole life, but that's not who they are. That's just something that somebody gave to them, right? Maybe even it's your name in general. Maybe you don't even identify with your name, right? Like I think about, I was actually thinking about how when babies are born and stuff, like sometimes parents pick out a name and then they see their baby and they're like, oh, that name actually doesn't fit them, right? So then you choose a different name for them. Or how some people have actually, you know, you meet somebody and they tell you what their name is and it's like, oh, really? Like I would have taken you for a whatever, a different name or something, right? So it's really all about letting go of those identities that we've had put on us, or what we think that is going to look like, even, right? Just because somebody else showed up that way doesn't mean that that's how we need to show up, right? And giving yourself permission to do that. And the only way that you can do that is by really deep diving into your core essence of who you are and who you want to be, right? And letting go of all those other aspects. So, yeah, if you are interested, I guess, in deep diving into that with me, by all means, I do transformational sessions. You can reach out to me. I also have a new free gift for all you beautiful souls. That is a pamphlet, basically. It's a digital one that's becoming friends with your emotions, which is something that I really work with my clients, is deep diving into where these emotions are coming from, right? Why am I feeling this way? And what is really the underlying root cause of that emotion? And so if that's something you're interested in, the link for that will be in the comments, or not in the comments, in the description below as well. And let me know if this video resonates with you. Let me know if, you know, you maybe realize that you're playing a role that you don't want to play anymore, or whatever it is. Like even with myself, I still have my married name from like my last name from when I was married, right? And that doesn't resonate with me, hasn't resonated with me in like forever. But then I went back to my maiden name and I was like, this is weird, because like when I was my maiden name, like I was a completely different person, right? Before I even got married. And so it was like, that even doesn't even resonate with me anymore. So I'm like, I think I might just, you know, just be Shalon, and that's okay. And so you can really just be whatever resonates with you and whomever you want to be, and just embody that full essence, okay? And like I said, if you need some help with this, reach out to me and let me know in the comments, maybe if you're ready to release an aspect of yourself that doesn't fit anymore. It's the perfect time to do it actually right now. So I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day, and take care.